Welcome back, everybody, to the Aaron's High Cap Adventure Radio program. Again, today's January 2nd, 2016, and we're here live. We're starting our third half hour of the show. We were only at 30 minutes 6 months ago. A couple months after that, we went to an hour. Now we're at an hour and a half. So I get the opportunity now to get gentlemen like we're about to speak to now and be able to get some interviews and get some insight as to what they're thinking and what they're doing. And today we have Aubrey Sanders Jr. He is the promoter of the Real Gun Show. I'm sure you're very familiar with that show here in Bell County and all around Central Texas. And I've got him here. Aubrey, on the line?
Yes, I am. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm glad you made it. Also, I was reading your bio here. I asked for a bio because I always like to introduce my guests properly. And I'm looking at your bio here, and I find it very interesting. I'm going to read it to everybody just to give them an idea of who you are. And then when I'm done with that, we'll get back to you and ask you some questions, okay?
All right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got Aubrey Sanders here. Born in 1959. He's the sixth, seventh generation native Texan. Ooh. Graduated Sam Houston High School in 1978. He ran a construction company for 28 years from 1979 to 2003. Held an associate's private investigator license under the fully licensed PI. Worked for a bail bondsman early in 1980s and was a bounty hunter, bail jumpers from the late 1980s, which I think is pretty cool. I've known a couple of guys like that. Self-taught mechanics, gas or diesel. If it's on the road, I can probably fix it. And I want to make a comment. I said this last week. My truck broke down, and Aubrey drives past me. He's driving this long trailer. He went to the next town to turn around, to come back just to see if I was okay. So thank you again, Aubrey, for that.
Well, I'm glad you had it handled, though.
Yeah, we got it handled. Self-taught machinist in metal turning. Can design, build any light commercial or residential structure. Worked in the gun show business from the bottom to the top, setting up tables in 2003 to 2013. Is running a full-time gun show promoter and owner since 2013 to now. Is married with 3 young sons. Cub Scout den leader. I've been there. I know what you're doing. Avid hunter and fishing. Avid shooter and have appreciation of guns. Writer and unpublished poet. I didn't know that, Aubrey, because I do the same thing. I've got lots of stuff. And you've got an appreciation for the written word. Amen, brother. Biggest concern, my children will not have the same right or means to protect themselves as we had due to the misinformed politicians that are so desperate for a cause or a platform to get noticed that there is no common sense left in them. And he makes this final comment that Aubrey makes. I like it a lot. I think a lot of people think it too. People kill people. Been that way since before recorded history, way before the firearm was invented. A firearm has but one purpose, and that is to send a projectile downrange as directed by the person operating the firearm. It has no guilt, intelligence, no reasoning, no logic, no right or wrong, or even with the concept of right or wrong. To say guns are bad is to say a hammer or a screwdriver is bad. Either of these three are just tools. All will lay exactly where you laid it down, providing someone doesn't steal it. Either can build something or it can tear it down. All depends on the person operating. So that is who I have on the line. Aubrey Sanders Jr., the promoter of the Real Gun Show. So Aubrey, with opening like that, what's the first thing that comes to your brain you want to say on the radio here?
I am never so glad to see an open carry law in all my life come to effect the first.
Tell me why.
Right. Well, it's going to be a little bit unnerving to some people at first, but the guns have always been there. The majority of the people that be open carrying have a concealed license anyway. Just they're going to be out open, and I think it'd be more of a deterrent, even though it's going to cause some people some disconcern, some uneasiness for a little while until they get used to it. But I think it's a good thing.
You know, Aubrey, I was telling people earlier, and I've talked to a couple people, and I've got some messages sent to me that we went out on that historic day, and I did it purposely. I'm not going to normally carry open. I mean, just that's my personal choice. I kind of like it better concealed, but if I want to, I can. But yesterday, I took a picture, or had a picture taken of me out in a public place, and I was asking a lot of people, hey, what do you think about this? And I promote my concealed carry badge and put the two together, and people are like, it's no big deal. It doesn't matter. They see that badge, it calms them down. Or if you don't have that badge, people are like, well, whatever, because you're walking in a manner that is not threatening. If you're in your community, people should know you anyway, but I don't think it's going to be that big of an issue except for the people who are just scared of their own shadows.
Well, you know, there's always going to be people that think guns are unnecessary evil, and unfortunately, and I pray that they never ever be put in a situation where they're, posed with bodily harm by somebody. and need to protect themselves. But, understanding that opinion, and I respect that. However, life is not blow roses. There's always been bad people doing bad things to good people, and will continue to do so with or without firearms.
Aubrey, I want to ask you something too. I mean, this is almost like an offshoot of what we're talking about. You had made a comment about something, and that is, if you go to a gun show, I'm going to be going all over the planet here, so just stick with me. Hold on tight.
Okay.
When you go to the gun show, why, if you have all these guns in there, do you have to, a license holder, have to empty his gun, lock it? Why can't he carry it? What is preventing a person with a CHL or a license to carry to go into that arena of a gun show and have to declare their weapons? What's going on? You got the inside scoop. Tell us. It
is my own personal thing with the show is that it is a safety issue. People are perfectly able to carry concealed or open in gun show. If we don't allow any ammo or loaded weapons or ammunition, through the door unless you're a vendor. And that's for safety concerns. People always, even me carrying concealed, I get asked, sometimes, what are you carrying? And some people like to show off, some people don't. But it's just for accidental discharge purposes, safety reasons, so that it's safe for everybody.
So the odds are, with the more people coming in, you don't know their skill levels, whatever, it just opens up the door for a potential accident, and this way it enables it. Has nothing political. It just is a strict safety issue when it comes to there. Because
that is it totally.
Okay, very good. It's just a curious. It's kind of weird. You go to a gun show and you're licensed, and it's just like, I don't get it. But now it makes total sense. I understand. Okay, Aubrey, we got a few questions here.
Okay.
And I'm limited on time, which I'm sure we'll get through it all, but I want to ask you some things here, and then you wrote some things to me, too, that I want to talk about. Definitely the Second Amendment. We're going to talk about that in a second, but I got some questions I want to ask you here. What have you noticed in attendance when it comes to vendors and customers since the influx of illegal immigrants? And I'm saying that because I read reports, I listen to the news, I look at alternative news, and I get all these reports that a lot of, I'm not saying all, but a lot of crime is done by illegal immigrants that come in. Is there any relationship between people coming to the shows and this influx of illegal immigrants?
I believe that there is. In working and dealing with people, both patrons and vendors, they are under the impression that the police are not there to protect you. They are there to take the report after the fact.
That's right.
And there are no really set rules or punishments other than being, a little bit of prison time and then sent back to Mexico or wherever they come from. I say that off the top of my head because not anything, not saying that everybody is criminals and so forth, but there is, you see reports and stories time after time after time where an illegal immigrant has committed a crime. Then you hear, you're put in jail, and then you hear, 2 or 3 months later, he's been released back to Mexico. And that is, I say that because that is the most recent one that I remember hearing.
Well, they don't want to deal with them. That's the problem. The problem is they don't want to deal with these people. That's why they're letting them go. They arrest these people who are committing crimes, and they know they're just going to let them go. I don't understand what's going on here, but
I sometimes don't either.
But so you don't have any connection between the two, or people are saying, "Yeah, I'm buying it for this reason," or are they buying it more?
They are more afraid now because of the immigration situation. Not only just locally, but nationwide. It's like the president, wanted to bring in, or did bring in, 122,000 Syrians.
Yeah, that was one of the things you talked about. If you have a percentage of the population is a certain type, and out of that certain type, there's a percentage of radical people. That small percentage is a lot of people, and those people are coming in through the borders. That's right.
So now more than ever, the government will not be able, and law enforcement will not be able to protect us. Even if, 5%, I believe there was a quote that was used, of the total Islam followers or radical dissidents to it. Well, out of that 122,000, that's 6,100 people that's potential radicals that the president invited and trying to bring over here. You scattered out all over the country. You don't know what's going to pop up. They don't know. They can't tell you. So they're not, even more so than now, they will not be able to protect us. And I want to read something that I pulled off the internet this morning about one of the hostages that was over in France in the music hall.
Okay.
What haunts David Fritz Graupenhager, a young photographer of Chilean nationality who was raised in France, was not the improbability of his own survival. He remembers the laugh, the strange chuckle of one of the terrorists, even as he was continuing to fire and kill again in a pit of music hall already lined with bloody corpses. In front of us, Mr. Fritz, 23, recalled, he was in front of us like you are in front of me. He had a gun in his hands. He fired and fired and he laughed. It was a sort of a triumph in death. It was like a wolf in sheepfold. That scares the heckins out of me.
It all would have taken is one person, right? One person with a firearm. Hey, let me ask you this, because you're talking about government politics and all this kind of stuff. We have what kind of effect would the executive order that we know your president, the one that you voted for there, Aubrey? I'm kidding.
You got me confused with somebody else.
Okay, so he's trying to do this. He's trying to cover up the loopholes at gun shows. How can that really mess up people's rights or your gun show with this executive order loophole if he ever does come to make it pass?
If it comes to that, and he will try something, he vowed to try something. I've got not only just gun shows, but several other different executive order deals. He's going to meet with the new U.S. Attorney General that he helped get elected, or appointed, I should say, not elected. I wonder how that's going to fare for everybody. That he's made a promise that, he is going to do it because he says Congress is very unlikely to act on gun reform. I think it's going to make a whole new class of criminals. People that or normally law-abiding citizens, will just. Well, I'm just afraid that it will become a deal similar like in Australia, that if you didn't, if certain restrictions were put on certain firearms or whatnot, if you didn't turn them in, they would be faced with up to years of jail time if you didn't turn firearms in. If that happens and you become a felon, then here in the United States, you are automatically disallowed, or it is illegal for you to have any type of modern day firearm. It has to be a curio, antique, or a muzzleloader.
If you go back to the gun show loophole, though, what we're talking about, if he does put that into effect, you think about how many private sales do you have going on at your shows, or any gun show for that matter. You got a lot of people who do a private thing. They've got their own personal weapon and they just want to trade it off. So what's going to happen? You got to go to, either they're not going to come, or they're going to have to go through a dealer, get it in their inbooks, and then do a 4473 form to let it go out. That's going to cause headaches upon headaches.
Major headache. Life in the gun show will be over as we know it for the private individual.
And it's not going to stop some crazy guy from getting a gun. And what it does, it restricts
it is not going to stop. That is correct. I mean, I've got two studies laying on my desk now from Australia and Britain that the bad guys did not turn their firearms in.
That's right.
They still have them.
And they don't.
And across the board, violent crimes against the citizens has increased, sometimes quadrupled in certain areas. But people still have guns.
And that's what cracks me up about signs. They got the signs here, an unlicensed person can't come into the store. Okay, the guy, one, can't read it probably, and two, if he could read it, he doesn't care. He's coming in there with a gun anyway.
He's coming with bad intent as well.
That's right. And that's why I keep promoting anybody who finds a sign that says Penal Code 30-6 and you don't want a person who's licensed to carry conceal, who's been through the checks and everything, if you don't want them in there, I want to know. We're going to write up a list, and we're not going to do business with these people. I'm not going to be a sitting duck in your establishment, because that's where everybody goes to get killed. The bad guy goes to a place where he knows he will not have resistance. So it's crazy. All right, look, Aubrey, time is ticking away. I want to talk to you about your gun show. We were talking, and I know you want to expand upon it and make it one of the biggest shows in Central Texas. Tell everybody what you're doing, what you got planned in the course of 2016 to make this show explode.
Well, we have 5 shows there at Bell County Expo, and to my knowledge, it is one of the larger gun show venues where gun shows are close to Austin or Travis County. Now that the Travis County has pretty much put the squash on all the gun shows there. I am actively expanding the gun show into that market as far as to try to get the people to come to drive down from Austin. I'm adding new vendors at all the time. In fact, we have like Aaron's Gun Shop, with your automated laser computer simulated target system.
Oh yeah, everybody loved that.
I love that. I really did. I was surprised that how accurate a person can be, or how badly off they can be.
Aubrey, I had all the law enforcement coming up to the booth shooting at them.
I know it. I know it. I sit there and, pardon me, I was kidding you about having to wait in line to come see it, come use it again. But that and then expanding it into outdoor activities. In fact, we have a new vendor, power sports vendor, that's going to be there, that's signed up for all the 2016 shows there, providing outdoor power sports. Also, to the preppers, anything that has to do with outdoor shooting activities, and because understand we'll always primarily be a gun and knife show, but there are other people out there that shoot that are not hunters, enjoy for the love of shooting or like firearms, and that is always going to be a niche that we are going to fulfill. The others is a little bit for everybody. In case the government does decide to try to squash the gun shows, loopholes, and so forth for the private individuals. Well, we have prided ourselves on not having wholesalers per se in that cutthroat business, and like a lot of other gun show promoters do. You have to understand too. My wife gave me a cold about a week ago, and I'm just on the tail end of it.
It's all right, no problem. I'll tell you what, though. I'll tell you what, Aubrey. I'm into a lot of things. I'm a prepper. I like to be prepared. Being paranoid is not knowing. I know things can happen, so I prepare. And what's nice about the gun show, and anybody out there listening who has some type of product or something that will fit, what's nice about this is you have to go to this place or that place or drive over to here or drive over to there to get everything you need. If people can go to these gun shows and get a wide field of things that can help them with their preparedness, that's a great place to go, because you do it, I don't know, once every 2 months, once every month, whatever the basic schedule is, and people from a certain radius can come to this location, get all that they need at one place for a low entry fee of what is it, $7-8 to get in?
It's $8 unless you have an NRA or a military ID, and then you get $1 off.
That's nice.
And groups 4 or more get $2 off admission, because everybody's a working person, and $2 times 4 or 5 people, that's $25 or so.
So we need to support the show. Vendors out there who are listening to us right now, if you've got something that's a viable product that is good for this type of venue, a lot of people come through. And Aubrey, we were talking about how the numbers were tripled from last time, right?
Yes, that is true. It kind of took me by surprise, but then it didn't too, because what the government, it was recently after the tragedy over in France, and in California, and then the government wanted to, try to mess around with the Second Amendment, and it should not have surprised me, but it did.
All right. Well, look, Aubrey, time is just about out, so what we're going to do is we're going to close up by saying this. I'm going to be at your show on the 9th and 10th, but the show will be on the 9th, and that'll start at 12 o'clock at the Bell County Expo Center, the Real Gun Show. We're going to have the laser booth there, and I invite everybody to come on out to participate in that, have fun, look at all the other vendors that Aubrey's got squared away there. It's going to be growing and expanding in 2016. So come on out and support the show, support the vendors so they keep coming back and the show gets bigger, because by the end of the year we can have this thing snowball into a huge production that has everything you need in one location a few times in the course of the year at the Bell County Expo Center. With that, Aubrey, is there anything finally in the last 30 seconds that you'd like to say to promote, 30, 45 seconds to promote your show?
I would say that, free parking there at the Bell County Expo. It's actually $2.92 off the I-35. Either way, construction's a little bit of a headache, but it's well worth the effort to come. The facilities are clean, safe, family environment, and we'd love to see you there.
Well, that's great. I'm going to be there. I look forward to seeing you, Aubrey. I look forward to seeing everybody that comes out. And Aubrey, is there any special details if they hear this on the radio? They can come in with a discount, I think. Yeah,
if you're from Austin and showing Austin ID, we'll give you $2 off admission.
Very good. Well, Aubrey, it's a pleasure to have you on. Thanks for coming on, and we will talk soon and get you on again in the future. Okay.
Matt, take care of yourself, and we'll see you soon.
Yes, sir. You take care. All right, we're going to take a break, everybody. When we come back, we're going to do a Blackjack Firearms gun demo. And we'll be wrapping up the show pretty quick after that. So we'll see you in just another minute.